Good evening to you, snooker fans, and welcome to this latest episode of the 15 Red podcast with myself, Scott McCarter, here in County Tyrone. And I'm joined from London by my co host, Kelly Barker, who's going to just clear up some uh, stuff that we had left over from our last regular episode, which was interrupted by technical difficulties on my end. Good evening, Kelly.
Good evening, Scott, and hope you're doing well and keeping dry out of all this rain we've been having. Yes, back to the snooker, and quite a lot going on in recent times on the circuit, on the professional and amateurs. And we didn't get round to saying last time that we must congratulate Hamad Mir, who won the WSF Championship in Bulgaria a couple of weeks ago now. So he's the world amateur champion and will get to place back on tour next season. So he runs the snooker club with Alfie Burden in Hertfordshire. So they've both been doing really well since they've had the club. So well done to him. Also, Michael Larkov of Ukraine won the junior event. So he wins a 2-year card as well. He's not someone I know much about, but there's been several Ukrainians sort of floating about in the amateurs, so I'll be interested to see how he gets on. And over to the women's tournament, with Bayu Lu won the ladies' event over in Bulgaria. They sort of played several events at the same time, so she was dominating the circuit, hasn't lost for a very long time. So she won that event to become world number one. But just last weekend in Bruges in Belgium, Onyi ended that run as I think she gained the number one spot back, or Mink did. I think it's on you, but she is the Belgium Open Women's Champion. So well done to her. So it's been a very busy time, Scott, and well done to all those. But we're here mainly to talk about the World Grand Prix that happened last week in Hong Kong, and tremendous week, Scott. And Zhao Xintong continued the run of all different winners of ranking events this season.
13 out of 13 this season now. It's quite extraordinary. But, I mean, Zhao Xintong, I know we'll get to the individual results in a moment. But, taking the longer view for a moment, this is a tournament that will be talked about for generations to come. I say that because it was the first time we had 4 players from China in the semi-final of a ranking event. It's a proper turning point in the sport's history.
Yes. Well, we had 6 of the final 8 were Chinese, so we thought, wow, the odds are really in their favour now, and we've known for such a long time they've been coming as a nation of, the money they put into it and the training they give their players. It's just incredible, really, and the Chinese are really reaping the rewards now. But yeah, that final, Zhao Xintong, he was just incredible. He didn't play his best, if I'm honest. I didn't think he played his very best in the run up to the final. But in the final itself, he was just tremendous. He had 5 centuries in the final, which must be somewhere near a record, and which included a 145, which you can't get too much better than a 145, although it does happen more often than not these days. But just tremendous. And I really enjoyed the tournament. And a word too for Zhang Gander, who was runner-up, because he played his part in a really, really good week leading up to it. And if he'd have played many other players in the final, he would have won probably, because he was playing well as well. But Xintong was a league above, and he looks like a world champion there, Scott.
Yes, I mean, there is something about Zhao Xintong. I think Neil Foulds, who said on commentary, there's such a grace about the way he does it. It's magnificent to behold. It reminds me, I know Al McManus said it reminded him of Mark Williams. It sort of reminded me of, Neil Robertson, but in close in a sense. We all associate Neil with long putting and so on. Zhao Xintong has that, but his in close technique's probably the best I've ever seen.
He is just incredible. I've heard it said before that he's a bit like a young Chinese Jimmy White when Jimmy was, that age, and it all came so easy to him. But yeah, he just makes it look so easy. And having been playing a bit of snooker myself in the last months, it really isn't that easy. I wish it was.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, so to get that level of skill, and it's just so natural. It's like he was born with that cue in his hand. And yeah, if he could give me a few tips on how to do it and just look so relaxed and calm and measured, and he hasn't got a stress in the world on his shoulders. And just all credit to him. And I think you've got a little prediction for the months ahead, Scott, about Mr. Zingtong.
Well, I was saying to you all here, and you correctly guessed what I was going to say. I do, and I don't make terribly rash predictions, but I do think the Crucible first could be under threat because if he keeps playing like that, or even 50% of that level, nobody will get near him. He was absolutely marvellous in that final. I mean, you'll go through the results in a moment. He wasn't world beaten in every match, but you don't have to be. It was just, well, I'm really lost for words to describe what he could do in the remainder of the season. I mean, it's certainly the best chance we've ever had for the Crucible curse to be broken. Whether I go so far as to say will or not, I'm not sure, but it's certainly the best chance, I think.
Well, I do seem to remember this time last year we were sitting here saying, "Oh, Kyron's this and that," and I think he could break the curse. I think he was your tip for the title last year, Scott, and I think we had a bit of egg on our face after the first round because Selby was my pick last year. We won't gloss over that though. That's nearly 12 months ago. But
Yeah,
you are right. I think Xintong does have a wonderful chance. The one thing I still wonder about him is if he does come up against a Selby or a Kyron or a really tough match player especially in World Championship distance who gives him a real push.
yeah.
Is he tactically as astute as some of those players? We will wait and see, but it's going to
Mhm.
be, if he's to have a good run at Sheffield, then it's going to be mighty fun to watch, Scott. So
Yeah.
yeah, and I think we'll enjoy these tournaments that are still to come now because unbelievably, and I think Xintong had to reach at least the semi-final to get into the Players' Championship. So
Yeah.
yes, he's cemented his place in the players and the tour now. So we've got lots of him to watch over the next couple of months, which is only a positive for the game, I think. And yes, we'll look forward to these next few weeks. Anyway, moving on to I've made notes on the quarterfinals onwards as ever, and as we've said before, it's quite a historic week for the Chinese emergence. Six of the last eight reached six of the six of the last eight were Chinese, which is the first time that's happened. So we've known they've been coming for a long time, Scott, but to do it now. And to think that one of those six out of the last eight wasn't even Ding either. So it just shows how the next generation of Chinese have come through. But anyway, we'll go through them one by one. First up was Zhang Gander, who played tremendously well all through this week as well. He beat Wu Yiza 5-2. I really enjoyed this match. It was high quality from both, especially Zhang, who finished with a 1-3-5 to continue this fine week and put himself into the semis. Wu had a 101, but it wasn't enough. I don't know if you saw this one, Scott, but Zhang was always in control there.
yes, it was a strange result when I saw that. I didn't get to see it, but it was rather strange, because you would have thought on form that Wu Yezer was the man in form there, but clearly the fact that Zhang Anda just had that bit more, and you have to remember some of these Chinese lads aren't very experienced in terms of big matches now. So, the fact that Zhang Anda, maybe on the form was a surprise, but on an overall pedigree, you know, he probably has a better pedigree. So, not a surprise overall, I think.
No, not at all. And he played really well. I did see this match on Discovery Plus, and he was the better player. And I think Zhang is one of these players who he doesn't really stand out for his any kind of swashbuckling style like Wu does, but he's quietly always there,
Yeah.
and he's confident, and he's got a really good game. And you know, but as we found out, Zhang did win a tournament earlier this season, so it couldn't be him to win it, could it? Because it's got to keep that run of all different winners. But anyway,
Yeah.
on to the next quarter final, which was another all Chinese affair. It was Zhao Gudong beat Si Jiawei 5-2.
Yeah.
Gudong looks a complete player these days. After beating Ronnie in the previous round, he took the match quite comfortably, highlights being a 97 and a 1-2-2. It's nice to see Si Jiawei getting to this stage of these tournaments here, but he was second best on this occasion to Zhao.
I'd say of all the new Chinese players, Godong's probably my favourite to watch in a sense, because although he's not the sort of Xintong swashbuckling, like Zhang Ander, he's quite nice and quite steady and quite controlled. And, this particular contest against Sergio Wei was very much the epitome of that, really.
Yes, and I think Zhao Gudong, he isn't sort of in that the latest generation, is he? He's well into his 30s, but he was maybe a little bit of a late bloomer as far as reaching his best years, because he's got to be into his mid 30s now, I think. But he's the complete player, and you don't see him not being in the 16 really for a while, because he's very, very solid, and he's actually really nice to watch. A little bit like Zhang Gander, doesn't really have that. You don't think of him as having that bit of X factor, maybe like a Wu Yiza does. But they've got the game, and they've got the talent, and they've got the patience, I think, more than maybe
Yeah.
some of the youngsters do. But they'll all learn that as we go on.
Oh, yes.
The next quarter final, and then for me, this was a really, really good game. I enjoyed this one. It was the world champion, Zhao Xintong, beat Chris Wakeling 5-4. Zhao played nicely, but had mistakes in him to lead 4-1. And it all looked formality, really, as Wakeling didn't really get going. But at 4-1 down, Wakeling decided to start going for it, though, and took three quick, impressive frames to level up at 4-all, with runs of 91, 76, and 118. The world champion gathered himself in the decider, though, with a couple of scoring chances, booked his place in the semi-finals. And this was a big win, as he was also chasing that spot in the Players' Championship. But some credit to Chris Wakeling there, coming from 4-1 down. He really did play well to get back in it. But just had a bit of a too slow a start, really, because I thought Zhao was a little bit more there for the taking in the early stages.
Well, again, it's what we see so often, isn't it? Somebody gets behind, thinks to themselves, I can't really win this, so I might as well throw my arm at a few. He threw his arm at a few and four each, and then you think to yourself, oh, he might do this after all. But as you say, it goes back to what you were saying earlier. Just yes, he played well, ultimately he did get over the line, but the key thing that you said in your summary there was he had mistakes in him. And that's the thing. Can he just iron out those little odd mistakes to stop somebody getting, you know, where he could have took that match 5-1 instead of 5-4?
Yes, I think that is the thing with Xintong, and it's what I do sort of think of him as regards, breaking that crucible curse potentially. I mean, he's said in interviews he doesn't want to think about it yet, but it's all those fans will be thinking about in the lead up to it. I mean, get us to March, and it's all the talk will be of the crucible curse. But I still think, as well as he did play in the final, and he didn't make many mistakes in the final, he was fantastic. But I think there is little inconsistencies in his game here and there, and as we've touched on, I am kind of yet to be convinced of him when the going gets really tough. And if he was to play a Selby in a world quarter final or a semi final, you wonder whether Selby's snooker brain, it would be immense to watch. I would really enjoy that.
Yeah.
But you do wonder if it came down to that, I would still probably put, unless Xintong absolutely potted him off the table, as we know how he can, I would still probably put a Selby type as favourite in that kind of situation. But that's all to come in April, and we'll all see how that all goes. But back to this week, and we were on to the final quarter final, which was another good one. Zhao Yulong, another Chinese who possibly gets a little bit forgotten about occasionally compared to some of the youngsters. He beat Ali Carter 5-4. This was another that went all the way, again in favour of the Chinese, Yulong, to set up the all-Chinese semi-final lineup for the first time in a world ranking event. This one was nip and tuck all the way, but despite 3 successive breaks of 88 for Carter to lead 4-3, a 66 and a 56 in the last 2 frames ended Carter's challenge. And it was Yulong who moved into the semis to, yes, make this historical semi-final lineup. And I don't think it'll be the last time this happens. I think we're going to get this in future tournament. I think we've still got plenty of British, and we've got Luca if he gets his act together, and some of the nations coming through. But the Chinese, they were really strong this week, and it was actually good to see because a lot of them are very nice to watch.
So there's sort of aesthetically pleasing about a lot of the Chinese players, as you say. And you're right about Zhou Yulong. I'll be honest with you, that Scottish Open match with Gary Wilson was it 2022? I think that did set him back rather a lot. Premature celebration, etc. Then, also he got whitewashed in a ranking final as well. So, those things would set him back. And it's yet to see, I suppose, can he push on that one wee bit further? But marvellous win against Ali Carter, and very well deserved, I think.
Yes, it was good to see, and as you say, he's had some setbacks in his career, and he sort of came through at the same time as Xintong and Yang Bingtao at the time. They were the 3 who we thought, these are the 3 that are gonna. They were sort of touted as the next, the Chinese class of '92 a bit at the time, but they've all had their different ways after all that. But it's good to see Yulong back. He's a very good player. I enjoy watching him. And so he was in the semi-final. And wow, did you get up at 5 o'clock on Saturday morning, Scott, to watch this one? Because the first semi-final was Zhang Anda against Zhao Yulong. And this was a slow burner, but an entertaining game nonetheless. From early on, it looked like going all the way, and that's exactly how it turned out. Zhang's scoring was better overall, a couple of centuries in a 95, but the decider came down to the final black, and it was Zhang who cleared to steal it. Zhou Yulong will be gutted, so near yet so far. But hopefully something to build on in the run up to Sheffield, because he had a fine run this week. And yes, very disappointing to lose that final frame how he did. But Zhang Gander, he never gives up. He's always got great battling qualities, and this match lasted a very long time. Yeah.
Well, just to confirm, I was not. I was awake at 5 o'clock on Saturday morning, but I was listening to the shipping forecast on the radio. So, no, but I did see obviously the little clips and various things about that decider. Look absolutely marvelous to watch. A decider on the final black. Well, it's my favorite thing in snooker, really. Anytime anybody asks me for prediction, I always say a decider on the final black. But well done to Zhang Anda, and very well deserved by all accounts.
Yes, I didn't get up that early, but I did watch it from the start when I did get up. I did sort of run it forward a little bit. I was watching via Discovery Plus, and I did sort of run it on a bit just to catch up, ready for the next match. But it looked some good scoring and some long frames, some proper hard safety in there. But you know, it was good stuff, and yeah, well done, Zhang Gander, reaching another final. But the next semi-final was very enjoyable. I watched this one live from start to finish, and this was Zhao Xintong beat Zhao Gudong 6-3, and this was a tremendous quality game. And the world champion really started to step up his game impressively, finishing with a 1-2-1 plus 6 other half centuries to power away for a 6-3 win. I didn't think Gudong was so bad, but Xintong really played well here, and I think he was very, very good value for the victory. And for me, he was slight favourite going into the final on form.
Yes, well, I got to talk about something that might be a little niche here, but Xintong's break construction was wonderful to watch. In terms of the way he went about his break building was just, it's mesmeric. It's almost hypnotic in the way that he does it. It's absolutely mesmerizing. I mean, that 1-2-1 in the last frame was just, you're sitting there open-mouthed at times thinking, make it look so easy.
I just love watching him play, and he does it so quickly, but he doesn't seem as if he's rushing at all. It's just a natural pace for him. So I think those players, they're probably the best ones to watch, really. And he doesn't have, as we've said before, he does have the odd miss in him, and it can be a bit casual, but when he's on song, like he's got it all together this week, he really is incredible to watch. And like he was at Sheffield last year, there was something in the air at Sheffield this last year. You felt that he was so good from early on that you felt, wow, this maybe it's written in the stars he was going to win it. And I think his play this week was well deserving of a good run. And as we saw, that semi-final was tremendous, and the final itself's got possibly my favourite final of the season so far. Not close, really. As if you say it's going to be a 9-8 or a 10-9 win, you probably think that is going to be the more dramatic and favourite to, you're going to remember that more. But I'll certainly remember this final for a good while yet, because it was really, really tremendous. It could have been any two players in the world, and I don't think we could have asked for anything better.
No, I mean, this could have been O'Sullivan and Hendry at their peaks, and it wouldn't have been much better. I mean, the standard. I know we keep saying the standard in modern snooker gets higher and higher. The standard in this final, absolutely extraordinary. I think I calculated, I did some research on Q Tracker afterwards. When you consider how many best of 19s there have been in snooker history, it's only the 17th time we've had 5 centuries in a best of 19. It's
Wow! So that
remarkable.
that just shows really how special a performance it was, doesn't it? Yeah, and yeah, we were look. I feel lucky that I got to watch that because like you say, that doesn't happen too often. Both players. I mean, I know we're waxing lyrical about Xintong, and so we should. But Zhang, he more than played his part as well. And if he carries on playing like that, he'll be winning more trophies because he's he was a credit to the game. And I must say about Zhang as well, he jumped straight back on the plane after that final, and he's back he's in Leicester today for the winners group of the Championship League. We wondered whether he might withdraw because it was literally. I mean, they all complained about. A lot of the players complained about going from Germany to Hong Kong, and it was It was tough. There's no doubt about it. But Zhang has done that trip now straight to come back for the winners group. So well done to him. And just to sort of finish off, I suppose, Scott, we've also had some World Open qualifiers today, and your local man has beaten Louis Heathcote, so I'm sure you're quite pleased.
Yes, indeed. Always good to see you. Mark, well, he could do with a decent run, so hopefully the World Open might provide it, I suppose. But good to see him doing well as ever.
Yes, and yes, we're doubled up for snooker this week because it's the Championship League winners group, as I said, and the 3 days of these World Open qualifiers. So yeah, plenty for people to watch, and I'm sure we'll be back reporting as well. I think we might not be back now until after the Players' Championship when that's finished in a fortnight, but. Yeah, we'll have lots to talk about as ever, Scott.
And just to give you one little thing that I didn't get time to mention on our last regular one, which was my answer to the trivia question. Who beat Ronnie O'Sullivan in the fight, or who did Ronnie beat, rather, in the final of the German in 2012? The answer, of course, Stephen Maguire. So I'll have another one when we're back after the Players' Championship, or we might be back during it, depending on various talking points, but we'll keep you informed of that. And for now, I will say good evening to Kelly Barker. Thank you very much indeed once again, Kelly.
Thank you, Scott. It's good to chat as ever and catch up, and see you next time, folks.
Hi, everyone.